Thank you for remaining with us this morning. Well, the issue in Rivers State seems to have taken another turn with the governor's visit to the State House of Assembly, generating various reactions, including the ones from the Speaker, among others. Let's have this conversation this morning with Chidi Lloyd, who is a former member of the Rivers State House of Assembly. He's also a former local government chairman, and he's a lecturer at the Department of Private and Public Law at UNEC, along with Opunabo Inkotaria, Public Affairs Analyst. Both of them join us virtually from Port Harcourt. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us this morning.
All
right.
Good
Let's
morning.
begin. Yes, Honorable. Let me begin with Honorable Lloyd. Now, a lot of people are saying a lot of things about this, and one is wondering exactly why this seems to be intractable, continuing like nothing that is not going to abate. People, brothers, sisters, people of the same state, perhaps even neighbors, are daggers drawn against each other for whatever reason. Exactly what is going on, and why do you think this is intractable, despite all of the intervention that's gone ahead?
Let me start by making some amendments to your intro about me. First, I'm a former lawmaker, a current chairman of Emowa local government, and a former law teacher with the University of Nigeria, Enugu campus. So that has to do with the intro about me. The reason, Ayo, is because I'll quickly refer you to what the Bible says in Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 16. He said, woe to that city whose king is a child and whose princes marry in the morning. That is why you see the type of thing going on in Rivers State continue to happen. Rivers State has become a pariah state because we gave a Mercedes-Benz to a learner driver who ordinarily should use a rickety Beetle. So we are all accomplices in this because most of those who, including the man in your studio, did not believe. These were the people who said that this young man cannot do the job. And I verily believe them. They have now been vindicated. We came all out, especially in Emowa, and voted the young man as governor, as opposed to the position of the likes of Opunabo Inkotaria. I don't see any reason why a man goes before Mr. President and agrees to certain conditions, puts his signature down on paper, then come back to renege. That is what we are seeing going on now. So it's a very sorry situation that we have in Rivers State. I must confess that most times I am very reluctant to appear on programs like this to talk about what is going on in Rivers State, because this can be jolly well described as a self-inflicted injury.
Well, incidentally, we'll come back to you. Just a second, Mr. Honorable Lloyd.
He is not prepared for this job, and that he can't do it.
Okay, we'll come back to you, Honorable Lloyd, because there's so much to discuss on this. Mr. Inkotaria, I mean, you have been in the space as well. Can you give Nigerians some perspective of what exactly is happening and why this issue, as far as you are concerned, seems to be intractable?
First and foremost, let me correct the statement by Chidi Lloyd. It is tendentious to say that those of us who are vast to the margins of Sim Fubara are the ones now that we are correct, that we've been vindicated. That's not true. That's mendacious. The fact is, Fubara has been a personal friend, and we all supported it. That's the truth about it. Well, no doubt, within the Wilson Weekends camp, while he was still a governor, certain persons were averse to his emergence, and some of them left, no doubt about that. But I, Opunabo Christian Inkotaria, I was not one of them. I always supported him and even voted for Sim Fubara. Having said that, anyway, he was right when he said the very smoke, the bell stop, they've been consumed by it, no doubt about it. And the problem in Rivers State is simple. You know, I've always talked about the pestilence of godfatherism, a situation where, because you're instrumental to the emergence of somebody, you want to control him. Funny enough, Or I give you a very good example. You have a friend and who's getting married, and because you assisted him in getting married, probably you provided a house for him and so on. Therefore, you want to sleep with his wife. I mean, that friend would definitely resist it. And that is what is going on in Rivers State, a situation where you want to control a governor. This is the same person who said, you just played it. Yes, I think you played it, or was it your sister's station this morning, who said that a governor is ordained by God and must be respected, irrespective of his age. Now, going back to what we talked about, Mercedes-Benz and the Beto, irrespective of his age, that you just have to respect the office of a governor. And the man is trying to assert his authority, he's trying to assert his right. He doesn't want you to command him, to control him. He's not a pawn. You can advise him, no doubt about that. Even recently, he just said he has a lot of respect for the FCT minister, but that he is not going to be controlled by anybody. He's not afraid of anybody. And that control is what is the problem. Political pugilism is what is the problem in Rivers. That is the provenance. That is what has generated the problem we have in this state. And the man is resisting it. And it's as simple as that.
No, it's interesting that this conversation keeps going back and forth to anyone who cares to listen between the minister of the FCT, who is a former governor in Rivers State, and the governor of the Rivers State as at today, because there are those who would wonder how come his name gets mentioned when it's now what the current issue right now is between the governor in the executive and the legislators in the legislature. What exactly do you make all of that? Because at the end of the day, it's the people of Rivers State that are in dire straits here.
Okay. Is that for me?
Yes, it is.
Well, I guess.
No, just a second, Mr. Honorable Lloyd. Just hold on. Let me, Mr. Encode. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. Now, the 27 members of the Rivers State House Assembly, if we have to restrict this to the Rivers State House Assembly, the 27 members of the Rivers State have continuously pledged their loyalty to the FCT minister. No doubt about it, no problem with that. If you have a godfather, why not? Why won't you pledge your loyalty to your godfather? But you see, in doing that, let us also not lose track of the fact that you cannot divorce what has happened in the past with what is going on right now. In fact, it's a continuous thing. Now, even on the floor of the House, when they defected, they said that on the mandate, on the weakest mandate they stand, they have always projected the interests of the FCT minister. And they have even those commissioners who were in the State Executive Council also said, in fact, the serving commissioner came out to say that his loyalty is to the FCT minister. He was asked on a live program, and he said his loyalty is to the FCT minister and not to the governor of the state. So now, because there is this friction between the FCT minister and the governor of the state, those who are loyal, hardcore loyalists to the FCT minister, have also bought into the crisis and are also defending the FCT minister. And that's why you find out that the name of the FCT minister keeps occurring every time, whenever this crisis happens. And don't forget that in most cases, they run down to Abuja, hold their meetings, and come back. That is just what it's all about. And even when the FCT minister was asked, there was this impeachment plot. Even when the FCT minister was asked, he said there is nothing wrong with impeachment. That is a constitutional matter.
Okay. Well,
he
Honorable Lloyd.
To step further to say.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead. No, just Honorable, please hold on. I thought Mr. Nkotari had finished. Go ahead and complete your thoughts, Mr. Nkotari.
I think you have finished.
Let him speak.
Well, Honorable, my question to you is just a second, Honorable. My question to you is different. Now, at the end of the day, because we can't complete this conversation in 30 minutes, but at the end of the day, it's the people. Right now, everyone, with their daggers drawn, are sitting, each person sitting in his own silo, the legislature in theirs, the executive in theirs, and loyalists on either side of the divide holding their own. But at the end of the day, it's the people of Rivers State that we need to give a little attention to now. Now, even it would seem like the House of Assembly is fractured now with the seeming or reported emergence of a factional Speaker of the House. When the governor visited, he says, we have a new leader, a new speaker in the House. What do you make of all of that, and how do we resolve all this as far as you're concerned?
I'd like to, first, it's laughable to hear that the new speaker has emerged, a speaker amongst two other members. Well, it is a reverse of possibilities. And here had become a theater of the absurd because of the initial Mercedes and Beetle example that I gave to you. My brother Ogunabodia, when he was talking about the control by his former principal, who is today the minister of the FCT. I recall that Ogunabo was his commissioner for information, and they had a very wonderful working relationship. In all of those times, Ogunabo didn't tell us how mendacious the FCT minister was. And he was not also able to say what form of control is the FCT minister among the 21 local government chairmen whose monthly allocations have been seized by the governor. Is the FCT minister, was he in the governor's entourage yesterday when he broke into the residence of the members of the House of Assembly? Ogunabo knows as much as I know him very well. I know that Ogunabo is a man with some sort of pedigree. I know his background and so on. So he knows that even what he's saying, this is not the Ogunabo who usually appears on your TV. It's unfortunate that the Ogunabo...
Honorable, while I understand the issues that you are raising, can we just stick with the issues? And let's just try to stick with the issue, Honorable, if you don't mind, and just address the specific issues. He will respond to you, and you just stick with the issue, so it's not just between the two of you. It's about millions of people living in River State.
Worried as you are, Ayo. You can imagine how worried you are from far away Lagos. And imagine Ogunabo and I talking to you from Port Harcourt. It is bizarre that I'm so ashamed that all of these that are happening are being read online as far as Russia, America, and so on. People read that in a state assembly of 32 members, a governor of a state can boldly announce that he has a speaker among 3 members. So that is the problem we have to face now. And Ayo, let me quickly tell you, when people say, oh, the former members of River State House of Assembly, the 29 of them do not exist. Ayo, you must educate them that they must, Section 68, sub 1G of the 1999 Constitution as altered is ipsissima verba with Section 109 sub 1G. And that provision is not absolute. It is not that once members defect, then they have lost their seat. No, because there is a provision. There is a provision that says, provided that. And I'd like to quickly refer you to the case of Sunday, Ifedayo Abongude, Sunday Ifedayo Abongude, against the Ondo State House of Assembly. So it is not absolute that once members leave a political party to the other, then they are no longer members. But even if, let's even assume, do not concede, it is not for anybody in River State to pronounce their seats vacant. It is for the courts. A court of competent jurisdiction will say so. And what the irony is that these matters are sub judice, and the parties continue to take steps that tend to render the rest nugatory. That is the situation. So here it is now, River State is now being run like a family meeting. Whatever the boss decides is what happens. Governance is suffering there. Nothing tangible has happened in 1 year, other than Thanksgivings where choristers and actors and all that are brought, and aspersions are cast on the minister of the FCT. I am unapologetic about my support for the FCT.
Can you hear me, Honorable Lloyd? Hear me, Honorable Lloyd? Honorable Lloyd, can you hear us? Can you hear us, sir? Hello, Honorable Lloyd. Honorable Lloyd, I want to confirm if you can hear me. Honorable Lloyd, can you hear me? Hold on a second. Just hold on a second. Can you hear me, Honorable Lloyd?
Yes, I can. I can hear you clearly.
Okay. So you just mentioned something right now, and I really want to be able to get into it because that's part of the conversation about Rivers State. Now, I'm going to get into what the governor is doing right now because many people are saying, look, he's doubling down. He has to be able to assert himself in the state where he is governor. But I want to be able to talk about, that thing you mentioned right now about the relinquishing of your seats where you cross carpet. Now, one of the conversations going on right now is the fact that, look, even though an agreement was reached that constitutionally, we have to be able to follow what the Constitution says. And for many people, they believe that, look, the fact that these men had cross-carpeted basically means that they have relinquished their seats. And the right processes have to go on. They have to come out again. And if they are truly popular, they will be able to get those seats back. Are you saying that that's unnecessary right now? What's your take on that school of thought?
Earlier, I said the most touted section 1091 sub G. If Sisma Vaba with section 68 sub G of the Constitution as amended. Now, what that means is that the section is not absolute. What the framers of the Constitution tended to care was this incessant movement by people from one political party to the other. And my sister, you also would know that this same Constitution guarantees free association. But however, the point I'm making is that that section of the Constitution is not absolute because it has a proviso that says provided that the membership of the other political party is not as a result of a division. Now, the Constitution did not say what kind of division that it refers to. Now, that is why I say there are arms of government, the judiciary, the legislature, the executive. When disputes arise, it is the judiciary that will interpret. But unfortunately for us in Rivers State, we have now a state, welcome to Rivers State, where everybody has been called to the bar.
Okay, Mr. Tari, I would like to get Mr. Taria's thoughts on that, on this as well. I would also like to get your thoughts, Mr. Taria, on this.
Hear what is his initial statement. I didn't hear that. So I want to hear what he said initially so that I can respond to them because he was making reference to me.
Oh, okay, well, we'll get to that shortly, but just so we can...
No, but I want to hear so that I can respond, not when you get to that. I mean, we've passed it already.
Okay, well, I think initially, he was talking a little bit about the fact that, everyone is able to quote the Constitution and insist on that.
Basically. No, that's not what he said. I'm saying earlier when Ayo was the one in topic.
Okay. All right, well, but would you like to answer this question while we get Ayo to get that question ready for you?
No, Ayo asked a question and he was responding.
Okay.
And he made mention of Upnabu and was talking about Upnabu.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so go ahead, respond to
it. No, I did not hear that aspect.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. We had glitches, so I would have loved to respond. I'm going to respond to this, but I did not hear that aspect. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, well...
Because it would be unfair if you talk about me and I don't respond while I'm on air.
Okay. That's fair, good. But we'll really like to get your thoughts on this because time is going. We'll get you that.
Okay, but first, because I know I got up to the point of Opnabo was with Wike and so on, but Chidi Lloyd himself was also with Amechi.
Yes,
he was a strong supporter of Amechi. Exactly. So I don't. But he said something before then, which I would have loved to respond to. I didn't hear that because I had issues with communication. There was this communication gap.
Yes, of course. So we'll bring that up for you, but just so we can save time.
But he knows very well, like he has rightly said, he knows very well. He quoted Section 109, 1G, no doubt about that. Once you defect, except there are two extenuating circumstances. If the parties meld, fine. If that is two parties coming together, or there is a division in your party. But in the case of the PDP, was there any division? There was no division. The Martin Samuel led assembly what they gave just two excuses. The first excuse they gave was that the what's his name again? Anyanwu, I think the national secretary of the party, was in court with somebody. That was one excuse they gave. The national secretary was in court with somebody, and that is the division. Then they came up with another reason, that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was doing well. These are not the reasons that are known in law. He knows. These are not. So you cannot, on that ground, defect from that party to another political party. But their defection, I can tell you, is for two reasons. They defected for two reasons. One, by trying to ingratiate themselves with Mr. President. And don't forget, Mr. President also said, if a child, you have newborn baby in your house, won't you accept that child? That was what Mr. President said. He did not condemn their defection. No, he did not. And two, they also defected so that they will have enough grounds. Because the FCT minister definitely, also worked for the emergence of Mr. President. He played anti-party and worked for the emergence of Mr. President. So they also want to have that firm grip, that grounds, so that nobody was going to question them, just as people are being questioning their defection right now. That's why they defected. There was no schism in the PDP, not at all. The PDP did not meld with any other political party like the ACN and the APP and so on that happened in 2013, 2014, 2015. That was not the case.
Okay.
That wasn't the case.
Well, I want to be able to look at that. The tenure of seat of members. Let's look at what the law says, right? 68(1). A member of the Senate or the House of Representatives shall vacate his seat in the House of which is a member if A, he becomes a member of another legislative house, B, any other circumstances arise that if he were not a member of the Senate or the House of Representatives will cause him to be disqualified for election as a member. He ceases to be a citizen, that's C. D, he becomes president, vice president, governor, deputy governor, or a minister of the government of the federation or a commissioner of the government of a state or a special advisor. E, save as otherwise prescribed by this constitution, he becomes a member of a commission or other body established by this constitution or by any other law. G, being a person whose election to the House was sponsored by a political party, he becomes a member of another political party before the expiration of the period for which that house was elected. And that is the one where a lot of people who are speaking on this matter are basically couching on. Now, let's talk a little bit, Mr. Taria, about this agreement, that peace accord. One of the conversations going on right now is that it's a political solution that in many ways cannot stand the test of time. What do you make of that assertion?
Well, in as much as the argument is that it cannot stand the test of time. It's a political situation, and it's actually not binding legally on the governor, but morally, yes, no doubt about that. But legally, no. But the fact remains that the governor has implemented about 80% of the agreement reached before Mr. President. He has done practically everything. Just two. One, the issue of the, I think just one, the issue of the representation of the budget. And let us also not forget that issue, the River State elders went to court on that matter. That no, the governor must not represent that budget. That matter is in court. And the hands of the governor are fettered. What do you want him to do? He cannot represent that budget. As for the issue of the reappointment of the commissioner, she did. Allowed the assembly members to stay, he did. But the only problem they had was the representation of that budget. And he cannot represent that budget until that matter is settled in court. So what do you expect the governor to do at that point? He couldn't have done anything other. He could have done otherwise. His hands are fettered.
What do you have to say about that, this particular assertion that Mr. Taria has just made?
Yeah, I was going to complain whether I escorted Mr. Taria to the program. First of all,
which one is whether you escorted? You have been talking, I've not been talking now.
I'm going to say first that Mr. Taria is not in a position to say whether there is a division in our political party because he's not a member of the PDP. Secondly, he talked about the reason, one of the reasons why the members defected was to ingratiate Mr. President. That's not correct. What can be more ingratiating of Mr. President than the massive support and votes that we gave to him? Whereas my brother Obunabo was campaigning and working for the other candidates of other political parties. Now, to come back to what you have said, you see the quality of advice that is given to the governor. No wonder we see the macabre dance that we see now in Rivers State. It actually pains me to speak about the office of the governor in the manner in which I'm speaking. But because you invited me to this program, and because I'm not dumb, I have to say something, especially when I see my elder brother Opunabo do what he knows best. So the issue is that there is no court, there is no case by Rivers elders in any court. The Rivers elders went to court, and of course, the lower court swiftly threw away that matter because they do not have local standing. They were described as meddlesome interlopers in the case. Now they have run to the appeal. They are at the court of appeal. And my brother Opunabo couldn't as much as say that the only very few people, in fact, 36 persons, including their governor, president, and the vice, go by their appellation, their excellency. It is not a name given to just anybody. When once the governor, because the governor too may be a quasi lawmaker. When once he takes his biro, the red one in that matter, or whatever color, and appends on a paper, especially before Mr. President. You see what is happening here. When people who have lost out political, I describe them as internally displaced politicians. They are the ones who are heating up the system. They are the ones who are saying, no.
To get your thoughts before we move you back, before we go back to Lagos. I want you to be able to get your thoughts really on what the governor is doing now.
The governor was not,
Mr. Lloyd, many people believe right now what the governor is doing is asserting his authority over that state, refusing to be someone who is manipulated and puppeted and someone who is not able to. Hold on, Mr. Lloyd. Mr. Lloyd, you do have to listen, sir. Okay. So many people are believing right now that what the governor is doing right now is asserting his position as governor, standing his ground in the state. What do you think he should be doing differently? What don't you agree with about that?
You don't need to assert yourself. The powers have been given to you by the Constitution. It is only Lilliputs that need platform. You don't need to assert yourself. All of those powers have been given to you by the Constitution. So what he's doing, trying to assert himself in a cowboy manner, go to the House of Assembly, break the gate, his personal police, scale the fence, you go there and frighten women and children, and in a commando style. The governor doesn't do that. Who one can beat, you don't need to pray to God to give you extra power. Opunabo knows that it is unbecoming of somebody who occupies such an exalted office. But we'll have to deal with it.
It is funny. It is funny. I just laugh when my brother keeps talking of Opunabo knows, Opunabo this, Opunabo that. It's funny. Chidi Lloyd, the truth about it is that with what Chidi Lloyd is saying right now, am I on air? I'm on air. Am I on air?
Go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay. With what Chidi Lloyd is saying.
Now he has interjected.
No, Mr. Inko Ataria, please go ahead.
Okay, don't worry, go ahead.
Honorable Lloyd.
There is no time.
Honorable Lloyd, just a second, gentlemen. Honorable Lloyd, you stopped talking.
There's no time. Go ahead.
Just a second.
Yes, go ahead.
Honorable Lloyd, you stopped talking, and it's only natural he interjected you, and we allowed him. So I don't see anything wrong with that. Mr. Inko Ataria, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So when you have the likes of Chidi Lloyd with the FCT minister, like you said, is unapologetic with the FCC minister, definitely you will expect this kind of crisis we have in this state. Because these are the ones that will tell the FCC minister, don't agree, you are the one that brought in, you are instrumental to this, you are this, you are that. And that will embolden him to continue to send his boys to do what they are doing. It is as simple as that. Because you have a new governor. Now, what is the genesis of the whole problem? Which the FCT minister himself has not denied. All he came on air, which is also an innuendo, all he came on air to say was that it was a media chat. Even China was there. All he came on air to say was that he said I wanted X amount of money from the state revenue. When I bought the funds, where were they? Now, today they are shouting as one as for now. When I bought those funds for them, I bought the funds for everybody. Where were they? He did not categorically say, I did not ask for or I asked for. Again, the governor also did not say he had the FCT visa requested. This is a whirlwind of conjecture that has circled through the media. But be that as it may, rather than that, we are talking of what is going to be the panacea to the issue. He is saying no. Because from what he has said, what you glean from what he has said is that they are the ones now advising the FCT minister to continue. These boys are loyal, including the lawyer. These boys are loyal to the FCT minister. And if he had instructed them, just like when the Ikwe local government chairman said the governor is a foolish man, what we gathered was that he was instructed to go back and apologize. So if the FCT has instructed them to say, look, this is his time, this is now the governor of the state, allow him to rule. If after 4 years we are not satisfied with the system of government, we are going to change him. If after 4 years we are satisfied, we are going to let him go. When I mean let him go, we are not talking of the FCT minister himself, we are talking of Rivers State. But when you keep telling the man that, oh no, you have the powers, you did this, these were the sacrifices you made and so on, do not agree, then you're going to have the kind of problem you have in the state.
All right, gentlemen, let's see if we can solve some problems, to proffer some solutions. Honorable Lloyd, let me begin with you. Now, a good number of people are still confused as to why this should even be a thing. A governor is in office, a minister is in Abuja, political structures and all of that. One of the things that a number of people have wondered, look, why can the political party, the PDP, intervene in this matter decisively in a way that it will be unambiguous that the party has stepped in, issues are resolved, and then progress can be made? Isn't there a role, Honorable Lloyd, for the PDP in this imbroglio?
Well, Ayo, I would like to start by denying all that Obudabo has said, that we advise the FCT minister. I know my right from I hold a PhD in law.
You said I did, though. You said I am the kind of person advising the government.
I take exception to what he has said. But in any case, what we are saying is that the governor must govern according to law. Nobody has been able to say that this is what the FCT minister is in the FCT, doing what everybody, including those who loathe him and those who like him, can see. So
what way is it not governing by law?
By seizing allocations meant for local government, tampering with our funds, dipping his hands, wanting to pay staff salaries directly, and so on. These are. Meanwhile, there is an order of court that says that parties should maintain status quo by Justice J.K. Omotosho.
What is the judicial? Thankfully, you hold a PhD in law. What is the judicial process or legal provision in the event that a governor does what you're saying? What's supposed to be the process in law?
Well, the issue is when a dispute arises and parties go to court, the party who goes to court first asks for praise the court to do certain things for him. Now the court says, look, no, I will not grant the ex parte order you are asking for local government, for the governor not to access funds meant to the local government. Rather, I would grant the second order that says parties should maintain status quo. And then you put the other party on notice and adjourn the case to a future date. Then what you see is that steps have been taken by the governor willfully. Now, for you to be able to access funds meant for local government, there has to be a meeting of a joint account allocation committee. That has not happened. But in Rivers State, the governor has gone ahead to take names of local government workers that have been put together for him, and they have gone ahead to credit banks that local government chairmen are signatories to, and they expect that the banks will pay and there will be no consequences.
Okay.
So we are watching. We are watching because
that is noted definitely. Well, Mr. Inkotaria, where for you, What's the way forward?
On the issue of Jack, the month of June just ended. Sorry, what's it called? I said June. Month of April just ended. At times, the Jack meeting, the whole Jack meeting, a week after or 2 weeks after. This is not the first time it's going to happen. Then on the issue of payment of local government workers, local government workers have been paid, except Emoha. And what was the problem with Emoha? That's Chidiloy's local government. What was the problem with Emoha? The government increased the salaries of workers, and Chidiloy is balking at it.
Okay. Well, you know, there are so many issues to raise here, gentlemen. I sincerely apologize. We're out of time. There's so many issues to raise, and it would seem like just 1 second. We run out. My gentlemen, I apologize. I sincerely apologize. We're run out of time. We won't be able to take any further comments on this. But Honorable and Dr. Chidi Lloyd, now I know that you have a doctorate, former member, River State House of Assembly, a local government chairman in River State, and former lecturer, Department of Private and Public Law at UNEC, as well as Mr. Opunabo Inkotare, a public affairs analyst. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time.